Kenzo Koga, where ancient wisdom meets modern life.
Subscribe now and join us on this journey of awakening. If this resonates, tap like and share it with someone who would appreciate a moment of peace today. And feel free to share any thoughts or reflections in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something I think affects us all, how we move through life day to day. We're looking at finding a bit more peace, maybe, drawing on some really profound ideas from Alan Watts and Zen thinking. And to kick us off, there's this Alan Watts quote. It's brilliant. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. I mean, what an image, right? It just immediately flags this thing we do. So much energy, spent trying to control things, trying to resist what's actually happening around us. We try and pin everything down, force outcomes, define ourselves, define others. It's constant. And Watts, he just saw it so clearly. He said, the more you resist change, the more it hurts. And that just rings true, doesn't it? We've all felt that, where the fighting against something causes more pain than the thing itself, like wrestling with a wave. You just end up exhausted.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting is that both Watts and, Zen wisdom, they point towards this shared secret, really, for finding peace and all that. So our mission here in this deep dive is to figure out how we shift from that constant fight to something more like ease. And the answer, well, it sounds simple, but it's deep. Trusting the universe, learning to flow like a river. We'll unpack why fighting the current causes suffering. We'll look at Watts' ideas on trust, on surrender, and we'll touch on Zen concepts like non-attachment and that's effortless action, and hopefully give you some actual practical ways to, stop resisting and live more in harmony, finding that inner ease.
Okay, let's start with that river analogy. There's one of Watts' best, I think. Life is this big, powerful river. And his point was, the river does not push itself. It flows. And when you try to swim against it, you only exhaust yourself. Just picture it for a second. You're actually in that rushing water, and your first instinct is probably to fight it, right? Swim upstream like mad, every muscle screaming, putting in this huge effort, but it feels impossible, You're just fighting this massive force. It's relentless. And all your effort, while, understandable, it just burns you out. It's futile.
Exactly. That feeling, that hitting a wall, being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That's precisely the resistance Watts is talking about, feeling completely out of sync. Right. Now, imagine the opposite. What if you just stopped fighting, surrendered to the water, let it carry you, floated? Watts called it going with the flow. But, and this is important, it's not about being passive. It's not apathy or just giving up.
Ah, okay. That's a key distinction.
It really is. It's about alignment, like aligning with reality, with how things actually are, with the current itself. When we fight that, when we resist life's natural movement, well, that's where the suffering comes in, the exhaustion, that feeling of, this is pointless. The wisdom is often in moving with the river, not trying to conquer it. It's active surrender, you could say. Responsive.
Active surrender. I like that because I think, a lot of us get caught in believing we should be able to force life our way. Like we can just command the river, tell it where to go based on our plan.
It's almost baked into how we think about success, isn't it? Control everything.
Totally. And Watts hit this directly. He said, the more we try to control the world, the less sense it makes. And that just feels so true sometimes, right? The tighter you grip, the more it all seems to unravel or slip away.
Yeah.
Life, like that river, you just can't command it. You can't shout at it to stop.
Yeah.
And we waste so much energy trying to force things that are just not in our control. Yeah. It leads to frustration, confusion, just banging your head against the wall.
And this is exactly where something like Wu Wei comes in from, Taoism and Zen. It translates as non-action or effortless action. But that translation can be tricky. It's often misunderstood.
Right, it's like just doing nothing, being lazy.
Yeah, but it's absolutely not that. It's about letting your actions arise naturally, spontaneously, in harmony with the flow, almost like the universe is acting through you. Think of like a skilled artisan, maybe a potter at the wheel.
Okay.
Their hands aren't forcing the clay, they're responding to it. It's fluid, precise, it seems effortless because it's aligned. So Wu Wei isn't about no action, it's about no strained, ego-driven forcing action.
Oh, acting without the fight.
Exactly. Being present and responsive. There's this great Zen saying, you do not push the river, you let it flow, and when you align with its rhythm, your life becomes ease itself. Understanding that helps let go of needing that absolute forceful control. Often, real effectiveness comes from releasing that need. You're working with reality, finding the path of, well, at least resistance. Not out of weakness, but wisdom.
That's so counterintuitive to how we're usually taught, isn't it? Strive, push, make it happen. So what does letting go actually look like? Watts has another great analogy here, moving from the river to actually swimming, he said. To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water because if you do, you will sink and drown. Instead, you relax and float. Think about learning to swim or panicking in water. The instinct is tense up, grab, fight it.
Yeah, flailing.
Right. And what happens? You sink. You wear yourself out. It's only when you relax, when you sort of trust the water's buoyancy, that you float effortlessly.
That's a powerful metaphor.
It really is. It's saying the universe, like water,
Yeah.
actually supports you when you stop fighting against its nature.
And that trust. That's the core of it. Trusting the water, the current, trusting the universe itself. Which brings us nicely to the Zen idea of non-attachment, another term that can sound a bit cold, maybe.
Yeah, like you don't care about anything.
Right, but it's not indifference at all. It's more about not clinging, not grasping desperately onto things, whether that's outcomes or possessions or even specific feelings we want to hold on to forever.
Right.
When we're not attached, we can actually be more present, open, allowing things to be as they are without needing them to fit our rigid ideas. And what's really fascinating is how just that act, relaxing the grip, trusting the moment, can completely change how life feels.
How so?
Well, it tends to replace that background hum of anxiety with a sense of calm. Possibility, even. You can engage more deeply, more authentically, because you're not operating out of fear or that feeling of not enough.
You can love more freely, pursue things with more joy.
Exactly, because your happiness isn't chained to one specific result. You start to appreciate the process, the journey itself, not just the destination. It's like leaning into life's wisdom instead of always pushing back.
Okay, so we've got these big ideas, the river, wu-wei, non-attachment, deep stuff. But how do we actually bring this down to earth, into our everyday lives? Because, it's one thing to talk about it, another to do it when the emails are piling up or things go wrong.
That's the crucial question, isn't it? How do we make it practical? And the good news is there are some really actionable steps we can take, inspired by both Watts and Zen.
Okay, step one. Sounds like it's simply stop fighting the current. Which sounds easy, but maybe isn't.
It requires awareness, definitely.
And so when things inevitably go sideways, a project fails, plans change, whatever the usual reaction is, frustration, right? Anger, trying to force it back on track.
The immediate reaction.
Instead of that,
Yeah.
Pause, just take a breath, and ask yourself, honestly, am I swimming upstream right now? Am I burning energy trying to force something that maybe isn't meant to be, or is just outside my control right now?
That pause is critical.
Yeah, it's not giving up, it's discerning. When is effort useful and when is it resistance?
Like that work project example. Instead of just throwing more effort at the same failing approach, maybe pause and see, okay, what's really happening here? Where's the actual flow trying to go?
Recognizing the fight is the first step to letting it go.
Exactly. And building on that pause, the second step is consciously choosing to trust the river. Alan Watts had that wonderful line, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone."
Ah, I like that.
Think about it, right? If you keep stirring muddy water, it just stays murky. Agitate it more, it gets worse.
Yeah.
But if you just leave it undisturbed, the sediment settles. The
Yeah.
water clears on its own. And often, clarity in our lives, solutions, emotional settling, it comes not from more frantic effort, but from patience, from allowing things to unfold.
Trusting the process.
Trusting the process. Trusting that sometimes the best action is actually non-action in that wu-wei sense. Waiting. Observing, trusting clarity will emerge. Now, that takes faith, doesn't it? Faith that there's an underlying order, even when things look messy.
Resisting the urge to constantly settle in control.
Precisely. Allowing space.
Okay, so pause, stop fighting, trust the process. What's the third step?
It's about acting from presence.
Acting from presence. Okay.
Zen teaching suggests that when the mind is quiet, action becomes natural, effortless almost. There's that famous simple example. You chop wood, you carry water.
Sounds mundane.
On the surface, yeah. But it points to something deep. It means fully engaging mindfully with whatever is right in front of you, whether it's chopping wood or writing that email or listening properly to someone. When your mind isn't off worrying about the future or replaying the past or judging everything.
When it's just here.
Exactly. When it's just here, focused on the task, life unfolds without that sense of struggle. There's an ease that comes from being fully present. Your actions become a natural response, not a forced effort against something.
Like living with a quiet mind and the right action just arises.
It arises. You're immersed in the doing, not just obsessed with the outcome. It's that wu-wei, again, not avoiding work, but doing it with this deep, effortless focus.
Chop wood, carry water, just do the thing.
Just do the thing fully, no internal battle. It connects you to the moment, makes it less of a chore, maybe even meditative.
Showing up fully.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've covered a lot of these really powerful ideas from Watts and Zen, moving from resistance, that constant swimming upstream, towards harmony, alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And the core message seems pretty clear. Fighting the current just creates suffering. Whereas trust, surrender, wu-wei, non-attachment, they aren't about being passive. They're about a more peaceful, effective way of being,
Yeah.
working with life.
Yeah. And there's one last thought from Alan Watts that just beautifully ties it all together. He said, "You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way a wave is something the whole ocean is doing."
Yeah, that shifts things, doesn't it?
It really does. It stops us seeing ourselves as these separate little things fighting against everything else. It suggests we're part of the whole dance.
And the Zen view echoes that, right?
Exactly. You and life aren't separate. You're not just a swimmer in the river. In a way, you are the river, an expression of its flow.
So maybe the next time you feel that tension, that urge to fight or grab control, just pause. Remember the river.
Let go. Trust the universe.
And like water, you will find your way.
What might actually change if you allowed yourself to flow just a little more?
Something to ponder. Maybe share these ideas with someone who seems like they're swimming upstream right now. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thank you for being here with us at Yuno and Kenzo Koga, where ancient wisdom meets modern life.
Subscribe now and join us on this journey of awakening. If this resonates, tap like and share it with someone who would appreciate a moment of peace today. And feel free to share any thoughts or reflections in the comments. We'd love to hear from you